and dump it in here too. All right, be careful, my love.
The Knoxville Jewish community was faced with a challenge: how to gather as a community during the COVID-19 pandemic in a way that was safe and aligned with our values. Our normal communal gatherings and activities were all potentially dangerous, particularly for our most vulnerable members. We decided that a community garden with garden beds spaced 10 feet apart would enable community members to do something together while staying safely apart. In addition to creating a safe activity, we wanted to have something that adhered to our values as a Jewish community. We decided to achieve that through donating produce from the garden to those in need. The Arnstein Jewish Community Center agreed to host the garden. Funds for building materials and plants were raised from local Jewish families, and volunteers built the garden beds. Given the restrictions of social distancing, we asked individual families to commit as a unit to building garden beds. We went on separate days to build the beds so that we didn't have too many people at the garden at once. We coordinated via email and sent photos at each stage of the building process to ensure everyone's safety. We then bought dirt from a local store and filled the beds. Finally, we were ready for planting. We had families sign up for 45-minute time slots for planting day. One volunteer drew plans for the garden beds. We decided to have themed beds: salsa, ratatouille, and Israeli salad, as well as an herb garden bed to add an element of fun. We also planned our beds so that vegetables grew well together and added plants to help naturally ward away pests. We had one volunteer buy the plants for our endeavor with funds we had raised. Volunteer gardeners could consult the map of the garden to ensure they were placing items in the correct place. We asked everyone to wear masks when others were at the site, so to ensure that it was a safe environment for everyone. Our sign up for the community garden allows 2 family units with up to 10 people total to work in the garden at the same time. We will ultimately have 4 garden beds so that people can space even more than just 10 feet apart while working in the garden at the same time. We have one more garden bed that's arriving that is raised high enough to be wheelchair accessible, making our garden welcoming to everyone. Our community garden has also been an opportunity for learning, fulfilling another important community value. For some novice gardeners, they learn more about plants and gardening. I learned a new term from this experience. It turns out there's another kind of volunteer.
Most of these lovely seedlings came from Stanley's greenhouse, but this guy here is a volunteer that came from my garden, and a volunteer means that it was something I did not plant, but from a previous tomato seed sprouted this guy.
Our planted garden will now be a space for our community members to gather in a social distanced way while engaging in a social justice project. In Jewish tradition, we have a term for this: tikkun olam. It means to repair the world and reflect the Jewish value that we as humans have a responsibility to fix what is wrong in the world, including addressing food insecurity.